Well, again, good morning, friends, and happy Easter. John suggested this morning that we have Mass by candlelight in this sanctuary. We could. It is still so beautiful up here, man. Okay, so we are here commencing the great 8 days, the Holy Octave of Easter. And in these days, we begin to witness these various encounters that the risen Lord has with his disciples. And before we dive into this encounter that we have today, let's just be reminded of what's happened for Mary Magdalene and Mary, the wife of Clopas, who are running from the tomb, quote, fearful yet overjoyed. Okay, so according to Matthew, they had come to the tomb early in the morning. It was still guarded. Then there was this earthquake. An angel descends from heaven, sits upon the stone, announces that Jesus isn't here. He's risen as he said. The guards who were guarding the tomb, it says that they freeze. I picture like those fainting goats. You know, you ever see those YouTube videos where those goats who they get scared and they just and they stiffen up and fall down? I just picture the guards being like these fainting goats. Anyway. So they bolt, they go, they tell the others, fearful yet overjoyed, so many emotions, so unbelievable. And on their way, they encounter Jesus, or we could say Jesus encounters them. He comes on their path. And according to the Gospels, right, the first to encounter the risen Lord are these two women. According to the Gospels, the first to encounter the risen Lord are these two Marys. But according to a lot of saints and mystics of our tradition, there was another Mary who was the first to see him. But also, as those saints and mystics have said, they've pointed out, like, how do you put that encounter into words? Jesus coming to see his mom the morning of the resurrection. I've prayed with this scene a lot. I picture Mary standing in her home, or in a home, and I see her standing looking out the window, and her heart still torn with grief, and yet her heart still full of hope and confidence in the goodness of God. All these things, I see her, I don't know why, I just see her like washing something, just like over and over and over, and you know, someone could come by and be like, it's clean, Mary, but she's just like scrubbing this thing, staring out the window. And I hear her whispering to herself the words that Gabriel had said to her at the Annunciation 33 years earlier. And I imagine those words had sustained her throughout all of this, right? Gabriel said, and he will be great, and he will be called the Son of the Most High. And the Lord will give to him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there will be no end. I imagine her saying that, and of his kingdom there will be no end, no end. No end. No end. And then I think just as gently as like the word was whispered into her womb, the word made flesh, I picture Jesus just quite simply, just all of a sudden being there, standing behind her. I see him like standing there for a few moments, just taking her in. I see him smiling. And then I picture Mary like all of a sudden catching a scent of the resurrected Christ. Like she all of a sudden smells. It's like fresh spring rains. It's hyacinth and lilac and Easter lilies and the smell of balsam and cedar and fresh baked bread and cinnamon rolls and potting soil and chocolate chip cookies, all of these things together. And you're like, is that what the resurrection smells like? Like, yes and no. Like those scents, just like, I mean, so many others, you know, there's smells that pierce you. There's smells that pierce you. There's smells that haunt you. There's smells that just take you back. There's fragrance. There's smells that seem like they come from another world. They make us ache for another world. All of those smells are refractions, you can put it that way, of the smell of the resurrection. And all of a sudden, she smells that other world that isn't subject to death, that isn't subject to corruption and change and decay. She just smells it, and she spins around, and he's just there. It's him, right? Bone of her bones, flesh of her flesh. And there's enough love in that embrace between the two to create a million universes all over again. And I hear her saying to him two things. I hear her saying to him, thank you, over and over and over again. And second, I didn't know how, but I knew you were coming back. Amen.